Welcome to another parent-teacher video lesson from the earlygiftedmanual.com, a free website for homeschooled children 3 to 7 years old and their parents that promotes and develops giftedness at an early age. I am Gary Blank, the creator of that site, and your host and facilitator for this video and all of the videos in my educational program. As the video lessons are designed to work in conjunction with the program on my website, I ask you to, at some point, click on the URL link in the description box below, and this action will take you to the earlygiftedmanual.com. By doing that, you will be able to put this lesson and all of the video lessons here on my channel in the proper context of the total program that I am presenting to you and your child. And now let's look how we can teach your child, how you can teach your child to measure and create what I call line segments. Very practical skill. And this is very easy to do. You can start out doing the drawing. And let's see, I'm just going to take the ruler and across we go with a line. I'm going to make a tick here, and that's going to be our 0 point. And you can make the tick really anywhere you want. Just choose a place there. And then you can tell your child, okay, I would like you to measure the distance between the two ticks on that line. And you say, we call that a line segment. And if your child, hopefully, your child can do this with no help, because he's probably done a lot of measurement. But if he needs a little help, of course, we line up the 0 point there with the tick on the line, and it looks like it's a little more than 7 inches. And once again, we're going to approximate. So let's say he says, well, look, that's a little more than 7 inches, so it's about 7 inches. Have him write that right up here. Of course, you can do a few more. Just draw a line, and could be any length. Have him line it up. And of course, he has to sometimes find the length like we just did up here approximately. So that's, of course, approximately 5 inches. And as you go on, you might decide it's time to get accurate to the nearest 1/2 inch. So you can continue on down the page and ask him, okay, I want it to be accurate now to the nearest 1/2 inch, and show him or her exactly what that means. So that's the first part of working with line segments. And in the second part of working with line segments, now you can have your child do all the work. You can hand over the pencil, the paper, the ruler to them, and just say very briefly, I would like you to draw me a line segment that is 6 inches long. And they may need help the first time, so you may need to model it. And eventually your child should be able to do it probably fairly quickly on their own. So once again, you just use the ruler, draw a line, and perhaps, probably by this time, your child knows how to use the ruler to draw a straight line. I guess I should say that, but if not, show them how to do that. And they should know that they can make the tick anywhere, and now it becomes a different task. They're going to line up that tick with the 0 point. And what did I say, 6 inch line? They're going to have to go down and find the 6, and they will need to draw the tick on the line. And there you have it. That's a 6 inch line segment. So needless to say, you can practice more of these until your child can effortlessly do any length of line segment, let's say to the nearest inch, or even 1/2 inch if you want to go there, until they can do it effortlessly without your help. Here's a very practical skill you can teach your child, the one that, as an adult I still use all the time. This is an 8.5 by 11 sheet of copy paper. Those are the dimensions, 8.5 inches by 11 inches. But let's say, for whatever reason, you needed to reduce that size, and you could show him or her just how to do that. Let's say you wanted to reduce it to 9 by 7. So here we go. Down at this end, match up the ends, make a little tick at the 9, come back up here, do the same thing, line up the 0 point with the edge, make a tick at the 9, and now move the paper, line up the ruler so that it's right on the 2 ticks. Draw the line. Take the scissors. Cut. All right, we have 9 inches. And what did we want on the other side? 7. Same process. Here we go. Line it up. There's a tick on the 7. Line it up. There's a tick on the 7. And then line up the 2 ticks right on the ruler edge. Draw a line. Cut right on the line. And you now have a 9 by 7 sheet of paper to work with. This will be challenging for some kids. Other kids maybe not so challenging. I'm going to call this advanced. So if your child does struggle with this a little bit, don't be discouraged. Keep at it, and eventually they will get it. But it is a very handy skill, and like I said, even as an adult, I use this skill constantly. So a great thing if you have the time, and I hope you do, a great, nice little skill that you can teach to your child. And I call it trimming down a piece of paper to the desired size. And finally, here are some, I just wanted to show you a few other linear measurement tools, tools for measurement. And you may have some of these around your house, or even some that I don't have here. And of course, the more of these your child can see, the more knowledgeable they will become about this concept of linear measurement. And I think the best one to have, if you're lucky enough to have one of these, and really very few people do, but I'll show it to you anyway. It's a 100-foot tape measure. You saw my 25-foot tape measure. This is 100 feet. And here, let me do this. And it comes out on a spool. It has a handle that takes it in and out. And it just comes out on its own like this. And it has a nice hook on the end. If you can find something to latch it onto, you might be able to measure something 100 feet on your own. But if not, of course, if there's no lip on one end, this is a 2-person operation. As you can see, it's a flexible tape, much like the tailor's tape. Typical gradations. It tells you inches, and it tells you where a foot, 2 foot, etc. lie. So a great tool to have. One of the things you can do with the 100-foot tape measure is to actually go out with your child in a field or in a long hallway and measure 100 feet. I know for kids in my kindergarten classes, that was very exciting because that is sort of the more or less the length of a blue whale. So it gives them an idea of just how huge a mammal the blue whale is. So that's a really cool thing that you could do with your child. And of course, if you don't have this 100-foot tape measure, take out your regular tape measure, and if you remember our technique called marking off, you could find ways to mark off 100 feet, 10, 15, 20, 25 feet at a time, and that would be a great lesson too. So this is the 100-foot tape measure. One thing I don't have here that I'll just describe to you briefly is something called a folding ruler, which is a stiff ruler that's made out of wood, and you can unfold it and use it that way. I no longer have one because one of my kindergarten kids accidentally broke it, but if you're a carpenter or a tradesman or something, show that, and you'll probably have one. You could show that to your child. This is a framing square. It's used by carpenters when they're calculating the slopes of roofs and when they're building stairs and things like that. So this is a very handy tool, and I use it, and other people use it because it has this nice right angle in here that comes in handy if you're laying out a drawing of something that has right angles in it. So it's good for that. And obviously this is just a smaller version of that. And as you can see, here's the scale. Here's what my hands look like. So I think this particular part of it is like 2 feet long. This looks like 16 inches. And let's see, what else do we have here on the table? This is a calipers. I'll bring this up to the camera here. And the way this works is, as you open it up, well, let me get out a little piece of dowel here, a cylinder. Let's say you wanted to measure the diameter of this cylinder, and that's hard to do because obviously, look, it's circular in cross-section. You could put it between the two jaws here, push the two jaws tight, and right in here, there's a way of reading that measurement, the diameter there. And on the other side, as you can see, these two things here, these are for measuring inside diameter. Let's say you want to measure the inside diameter of a pipe or something like that. So this is a calipers. Mine goes up to 6 inches, and that's pretty standard. Some of them are a little longer, and of course, they come in digital models also. And I think the last thing I want to mention is trundle wheel, which is a way to measure longer distances, usually outdoors. It's a wheel that goes along the ground with, and you have a handle and you roll it along the ground, and it clicks at certain intervals depending on which kind you have. It might click at a meter, a yard, or even a foot. And I could go on and on, but the best thing to do is just Google it. Google trundle wheel, and you and your child can look at what a trundle wheel is and learn about that. And I think the last thing I want to say here is whenever you can, of course this is informal, it doesn't have to be a test. Just ask your child, well, which tool would you use if you were measuring, and of course, you fill in the blank. Could be anything. Could be something that you and your child can see right there, or perhaps not. And this will give your child lots of practice in just, getting a better familiarity with these tools. And as I've said previously, and I'll say again, and to choose the right measuring tool to fit the task. So by all means, when you get opportunities, please do that with your child.